Good morning. Here today with a follow-up to my Amiga power supply video. So I've done a second one, and this one's a bit neater, so I thought I'd document the differences and some better ways of doing this. So the physical support is more substantial than the last one. The other one was pretty quickly done, and not what you'd call great. So what I've done this time is cut out a complete piece of material. I've used the old power board as a template for the attachment holes. So there's these 3 screws holding it in here. So I just placed the old power board on top of this and marked it, and then drilled these holes so that I could attach it into the original casing. And then I've used the new power supply holes to mark out where these stands should go. So this then adapts between the two, basically. So I've drilled holes to give it a bit of airflow. Probably not necessary, as these are raised up and this is raised up, so air should be able to get around, but can't hurt to have a bit more. I've used PC motherboard standoffs in here, so all I did was drill, I think it was like a 3mm hole maybe, or 2.5, and these just screwed right in and worked fine on this kind of laminate board I've got. So I've got those. There's the earth continuity, which I talked about in the last video. So in the last video I soldered the wire onto the bottom of the power board. You can see it's got metal rings only on this side. Now these don't connect together, so you need to connect the earth through from the mains to the Amiga. So I've got it coming in here, I've got it touching both stands and then carrying on into the wire that goes off to the Amiga. So it touches the board and it goes all the way through, and I've already used the multimeter to check that the earth pin goes from the mains plug goes all the way through to the earth pin on the Amiga plug. Possibly the most important connection. Any others that don't work, well, the Amiga is just not going to turn on. If that one doesn't work, if that one's not connected, everything will probably work, but if you have a problem that needs the earth for safety later down the line, it's not going to be there. So that's all tested and in. Also an interesting point here in that as I said in the last video, but perhaps should re-emphasize, the colors and stuff are completely different between different Amiga power supplies. And in fact, this one has more cables. So on the other one, I think there were 4 cables. And on this one, there's 5. So it's got 2 plus 5s. Now, conveniently, our power supply, probably because plus 5 is the most powerful, it has the most watts, also has 2 pins for plus 5. So I was able to give them their own pins, and that all works out nicely. So what I'll do is I'll just put this together so you can see the kind of finished product, and then I'll go through how I'm going to test this to make sure it is in fact having the right voltages come out of the right pins before I plug it in. And this is also a way that you could test any Amiga power supply to see that the voltages are not high or low on any given pin. So certainly if you're buying a second-hand power supply or a second-hand Amiga that comes with a power supply, I always use this method to check it before plugging it in. So far, most of the power supplies I've had have not been in spec. If they've not been in spec, they've been below. And so a few of those I had already used because I kind of bought them in a bundle, and I thought, well, the seller says it's working, so I'm going to test it like this. And if it doesn't work, I'll send it back. But the wiser method is probably to test all of them. But like I say, none of them have been a danger to the Amiga yet. They've all been low, but you never know. So let's go through and put this together.